So is Myoko the next big thing in the Japanese ski scene? That's what we're going to unpack in today's video. Going to look at some of the big things that are happening in Myoko over the last sort of year or two, and what this means for everybody, what this means for travellers, investors, people around town, people like us, small business operators in Myoko. So just a quick background, if you're unfamiliar with Myoko, where exactly it is. So Myoko is located in Niigata Prefecture, about 2 to 2.5 hour Shinkansen ride from Tokyo, so fairly close to Tokyo. Great for international tourism coming in. You could be, you can land in the morning, you could be in Myoko by lunchtime, sort of thing. Myoko itself has 4 main sort of commercial resorts. You've got Akakura Onsen, which is the main sort of part where town is, let's say, which also connects into Akakura Kanko, and then you've got Ikinotaira ski area and also Suginohara. And then there's also a small, very traditional style club field almost called Seki Onsen, which is awesome. It's such a classic little Japanese gem of a ski resort. And unlike other, overdeveloped resorts, Myoko still has that cool sort of authentic Japanese charm to it. At this stage, it does. That may change 5 to 10 years down the line, but at this stage, it still has that cool sort of authentic Japanese charm about the place. It's a lot more quieter than the rivals Niseko and Hakuba, which I'm sure you've probably heard of. But a bit more affordable. Everything's a bit more, lift prices, food, accommodations still a bit more affordable than Niseko and Hakuba as well. But it's still got packed with potential, and we still get a good amount of snow. So what's changing in the area? There's a lot more sort of chat around Myoko, especially you can't go anywhere. Everyone's been in Niseko, everyone's been in Hakuba. They're sort of looking for the next place. That's where sort of Myoko is sitting, I would say, third on the ladder. With, maybe on par with Nozawa Onsen and Madarao, they're all sort of on that same sort of third rung on the ladder, let's say, especially for people that wanted to get out of the busy hype of Niseko and Hakuba, looking for somewhere else, a bit more quiet, a little bit more authentic. That's sort of where Myoko is sort of sitting at the moment. Over the last few years, we've seen a lot more foreign interest within the area, people wanting to invest, big investment firms now investing in the area as well. A lot more accommodation offerings popping up every year. I notice at least a dozen new accommodation offerings, I feel. A lot more new faces around town. And tourism starting to push into the green season as well, which is a good thing. Our local ski resort in Ikinotaira has been pushing into the mountain bike scene. Still very early days at this stage, but over the next sort of 5 to 10 years, if they grow that well, that could sort of be good for the overall area, having a bit more of a green season sort of trade, as them being just so reliant on the winter season, which we have been for as long as we've been in town. Be good to sort of, like I said, open up that green season as well. So the big elephant in the room, the $1.4 billion US announcement that was made at the end of 2023, Patience Capital Group. So yes, Ken-chan, the man behind Patience Capital Group, he has said he wants to spend $1.36 billion to redevelop the Myoko area. This is including Madarao and Myoko and Lake Nojeriko. He's bought up big parcels of land there. Has over 350 hectares of land in the area. He's bought up 2 of the ski resorts. He now owns Myoko Suginohara and also Madarao Ski Resort, and also affiliated with Lime Resort as well, which is another big recently renovated hotel in Ikinotaira, which is very close to where we are. The first phase will be to include the construction of residential homes, a couple of big hotels, and then a whole commercial zone at the base of the Myoko Suginohara Ski Resort. We're talking about a lot of retail and restaurants and things, which the area definitely needs. There's a shortage of restaurants in the area, hence why we opened a pizza bar 2 seasons ago. We just finished our 2nd season in the pizza bar, and it's flat out. This season was off the charts for us, which is good. It's good for the area, especially Myoko. There's not many other restaurant offerings in the Suginohara area at the moment, so it's good to put something in there for our guests, just for our guests alone, but a lot of our friends have lodges and things in Sugi as well, so it's good for them as well. So yeah, the goal for Ken-chan, I think, is to invest 70-80 million by 2027 and the whole 1.36 bill over the next decade. Well, this is according to what the Japan Times have been saying here. And should have the international hotels and worker housing ready to go in 2026, which I think is going to be a bit of a push. At this stage, there hasn't been much development going on in the area. We haven't seen very little on the ground ourselves. He's saying the development will expect it to create over 1,000 jobs and bring a major upgrade to local infrastructure, which should be good. There is a lot of upgrades that need to be made, especially the infrastructure, the shuttle system, a number of things that need a big upgrade, the local train station. There's a number of different things that could really just put a good facelift on the town, essentially. So why Myoko? Why is Ken-chan focusing on Myoko? I think one of the big ones for him is the proximity to Tokyo. I've mentioned that a couple of times. Super close to Tokyo, very accessible for a lot of inbound tourism. Huge snowfall. We're still getting, averaging 13 to 15 metres of snow a season, which is a big job keeping on top of, but also great for anyone that's coming for a ski holiday. Generally, if you're coming for a week or two, there's a very good chance you're going to get some fresh snow while you're here. Unlike if you're going to New Zealand, let's say, or Australia, there's a very good chance you won't get snow when you go on a ski holiday. Not trying to bag out New Zealand, Australia, but yeah, there's definitely a good chance you get more snow whilst you're in Japan. Affordable land as well, especially over the last few years. While Ken-chan was acquiring a lot of land, he was doing it during COVID, so land was at extremely attractive pricing. It has gone up quite significantly since then, and will probably continue to keep going up, I'd imagine, over the next sort of 5 to 10 years. But it's still comparably cheaper than the likes of Niseko and Hakuba. Growing international interest in the area, not just from Ken-chan from Patience Capital Group, but also just from local mum and dad investors like ourselves, trying to buy a little house or a lodge or something, which is great. It's accessible for people like ourselves. You don't need huge amounts of capital to invest in town. You can roll in with a somewhat moderate budget and still get something off the ground, which is amazing. It's such a unique opportunity, I feel, and we're lucky and we're blessed to be part of it at this sort of ground level, I feel. And yeah, real estate prices overall, they're a lot more attractive than Niseko and Hakuba. They are definitely going up, especially in Akakura itself. You know, a few years ago, you could still buy property for, let's say 40 to 50 million yen. Now everything seems to be at least double that, if not triple that, just for a small lodge, let's say, something along those lines. But there's still a lot of room for growth there as well. There's still a lot more to go, both physically and economically. Overall, hopefully there's some very smart development put in place, and if there's some good controls and measures put in place, I think overall it's going to be great for the area. Most people around town are pretty positive about it all, but yeah, it'd be good. It's a delicate one you want to manage well, any sort of big development like this, I feel, while keeping harmony across everyone. What we're seeing on the ground, what we've definitely noticed the last few years, is big interest in Myoko over the last probably 2-3 years, I would say, since the world's opened back up after COVID. We've got a number of different accommodation offerings. Also, like I said, we've just opened a pizza bar, so they've just finished our second season running that. We have ski and snowboard rentals. Also, we're branching out into ski and snowboard lessons and courses and things now as well. So we're pretty busy, got a few things going on, which is great, keeps us on our toes. But predominantly most of our accommodation, which is our sort of core business, as with a lot of other friends and things around town, their core business is the accommodation offering. Everyone's heavily booked up by middle of the year, let's say, and at fairly good pricing as well. You're not super cheap. We're still probably a bit more affordable than the likes of Niseko and Hakuba, but we're still charging a fair nightly rate. People are starting to look, like I would say, a lot of our guests just start inquiring about wanting to buy property, people wanting to buy things and build things, which has all sort of happened over the last, I'd only say the last few years actually. Prior to COVID, there was a few of us there buying lodges and whatnot, but nothing like what we're seeing now. Say Japan is pretty popular at the moment. It seems to be the hot place to go, especially for Aussies. Everyone wants to go to Japan, or they've been to Japan, or their friends have been to Japan, and we mentioned that if we talk to people, they're always super interested to hear what we're doing in Japan, and they've heard about all the great snow the country has, the food. It ticks a lot of boxes. It's accessible from Australia. Flights are super cheap, especially if you're flying out of Queensland. You get direct flights for around $1,000 return, let's say, depends where you're flying from and depending on what time, but fairly affordable to get to. Not just in winter as well. A lot of people are going over there outside of winter as well, which is great. Like I said, we're pretty favoured on the winter side of business, but would love to sort of grow into the green season eventually over time if we can, if there's demand there for it. But at this stage, we're pretty heavily winter focused, as with a lot of other friends and things around town as well. So let's wrap it up. Is Myoko going to be the next Niseko or Hakuba? Maybe not, maybe. It's hard to say exactly, but it's got all the right ingredients, and with Patience Capital, they're putting a $1.4 billion bet on the area. The world's starting to notice Myoko, which is good and bad. There's pros and cons to everything, but overall I think it's pretty positive. Well, I think it's positive, and when you talk to most people around town, everyone's pretty pro the development, I feel. But yeah, love to hear from you guys. What are your guys' thoughts on Myoko? Do you think this is good to have Myoko put on the map? I know there's a few people that would love to keep it their own little hidden secret of a gem of a resort. But that's just not the way the world works. But there's plenty of other resorts around Japan if you want to go to those more sort of smaller, more authentic Japanese. Just move on to the next town. Honestly, there's hundreds of resorts in Japan. If you feel that way, like you feel, I don't want to be in Myoko, there's too many Westerners or whatever it may be, then yeah, definitely just go an hour up the road. There's probably another half a dozen resorts, all very you know, very authentic sort of Japanese charm if that's what you're looking for. But yeah, like I said, drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's get a conversation going around this. I'd love to hear what you guys think. Is Myoko going to be the next big thing?